I'm M.R. James, probably best known as the editor and founder of Bowhunter magazine, but also been involved with the Pope and Young Club for a lot of years. Went to my first convention in '72, served on the board as either a director, first vice president, and president for 2 terms, going back again, almost to the beginning. And I love the club. I always have, always will, and will do whatever I can to help the club. I'm to talk about the 70s today. And I call that the decade of growth and growing pains, because we had some good times, we had some good things we accomplished, but we also had, like a lot of organizations, problems along the way. First convention I went to in '72, that was a turning point in the club, in as much as we had Glenn St. Charles, the founder of the club, stepping down as president. And he was replaced by Dr. Larry Bamford, who was a college professor at Arizona State University, a hell of a Colorado bow hunter, and someone who did writing. And as far as Bowhunter magazine was concerned, Larry had agreed. Our first issue came out in '71, and as far as Larry was concerned, he became our hunting editor then. And as president of the club, he wrote a column, Pope and Young column in Bowhunter magazine called Trophy Hunting. And so it started out as a cooperative venture, you'd say. And I enjoyed it, Larry enjoyed it, and I think the club and the magazine both benefited from it. This was a copy that came out in 1972. It had 300 and some pages, and I think about 1,500 entries. And this was a milestone for the club, but we had a lot of trouble getting everything together. We were short on funds for one thing, and it turned out Papa Bear, Fred Bear, paid a bill, a printing bill, or we might not have had this particular publication come out. But we've had one every few years, every 6 years, if I remember correctly, ever since. And they just keep getting bigger and bigger and better. But this first one was my baby. And then this is where we get into some of the growing pains, because you have guys with an idea of what their club should be. And we had a board of directors with a lot of headstrong people that go out and, oh, this is the way it's going to be, or I don't want to do it that way. And we had several of the mentality, I want the club to be used for one thing, and that's measuring bones, antlers, horns, and skulls. That's it. We're not going to get involved in conservation. We're not going to get involved with expanding the membership. That's just the way I see the club. So a lot of this went on in the background while I was trying to put out this first book. And it was interesting, to say the least. Philosophical differences some of the guys had about which direction to take the club made for some interesting times and discussions. But we persevered. We went ahead with the book, got the book out. It was well received, and it was the first of a long line of books that continue to this day. Every 6 years we put out a record book. From a book with 300 pages and 1,500 entries or so to what we've got now, where we can't even fit everything into one book and have to have a DVD edition that's included with the record book to get all the entries. But if you've ever taken a record book animal, it will be in one of the Pope and Young record books, that's guaranteed. And that's what a lot of people look for. It's not, so many guys have an idea this is an ego trip for hunters. What it is, in fact, is the opportunity for the club to take the money from entry fees, to utilize it for pro hunting, pro conservation efforts that benefit all sportsmen and women and benefit wildlife. This is really important. as far as the club's concerned. Another major issue of the 70s had to do with the bow hunting equipment of the day. As most people know, Allen invented or got the patent for the compound bow in 1967. And in the late 60s, Tom Jennings from California he got a patent from Allen, started building Jennings compound bows. And to say that that forever changed the face of bow hunting is no exaggeration. And you have to remember that a lot of the guys in Pope and Young are traditionalists who, when we started, that's all we had. Long bows, recurves, self bows, and that was it. But here all at once this mechanical thing. And we had guys in there that just hated them. And we had other people that said, this is progress, and we've got to adapt. And in the long run, I think that the club took the smart approach. We have certain restrictions regarding equipment, but conversely, we also have a welcome to any serious bow hunter who ethically and responsibly practices the sport. This is what bow hunting is to the Pope and Young Club, and this is what we agreed to do.